following items for consideration. Approval of transfers and disbursements. Approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $3,708,311.83. Approval of claims in the amount of $108,650.23. Approval of commissioners' reimbursements and mileage in the amount of $428.10.
Support.
Motion by Smoker, support by Geiger, to approve of the prepaid invoices in the amount of $3,708,311.83. Approval of claims in the amount of $108,650.23. Approval of commissioner reimbursements mileage in the amount of $428.10. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smoker.
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Wing.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the attached resolution supporting Thornapple Manor, exploring the addition of independent and assisted living units as well as adult daycare services at Thornapple Manor.
Support.
Moved by Smelker, support by Gibson. For the approval of the attached resolution supporting Thornapple Manor, exploring the addition of independent and assisted living units as well as adult daycare services at Thornapple Manor. The clerk will call, or is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Don, I take it that you have taken into consideration the questions that Mr. Brown brought up?
I have. I did go talk with Jerry at the city to talk about sewage. That's a factor, and these are all issues that will be addressed in our process. And we'll do it in a fashion where we take the least cost alternative approach until we hit a hard no or hard, if we keep going, yes, we'll keep going. If not, we'll stop where we get a hard no.
Thank you very much, Don.
Any other questions? Any discussion? Hearing none. The question before the committee is approval of the attached resolution supporting Thornapple Manor, exploring the addition of independent and assisted living units as well as adult daycare services at Thornapple Manor. The clerk will call the roll.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smoker.
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Geiger.
Yes.
Wing.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for the attached letter of agreement between Barry Eaton Health Department and the Blue Zones LLC to provide office space.
Support.
Motion by Smelker, support by Parker. For the approval of the letter of agreement between the Barry Eaton District Health Department and Blue Zones LLC to provide office space. Is there discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just would like to say that having studied blue zones and the national push behind it, I could say that the presentation really is a county-wide effort with very admirable goals. And this is just one small way we can, as a county, stand behind our communities striving to improve.
Based on discussion from last week, and the fact that we talked about a primary staff person and said that depending on what happens with the jail, the COA, the health department, moving buildings, whatever, that one person, but we're just giving her carte blanche flexibility to provide space for project volunteers. If additional permanent space is needed, the health department will do its best to accommodate. So it's just kind of a carte blanche, and we don't even know what we're doing yet. And I hate to put more people in there. So I'm going to vote no.
Any other discussion?
Sure. I think this is a great example of what a public-private partnership can look like. I mean, we have private money completely funding an effort where they're putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and over 10 years, this could be over $1 million. with a reliable funding source from private entities, from individuals who are supporting this movement in Berry County, being the first in the state. I mean, there's a real opportunity here to draw some attention to not only this, but other good things being done in Berry County. So when you look at all that money being committed without any taxpayer dollars going into this, they're asking us to support them by giving them temporary office space on a 30-day notice on the contract that they may need more space, then they can opt out, and if we don't have the space for them at some point in the future, we can opt out. This is not a long-term 10-year commitment that we're gonna provide space for them. This is just us putting an endorsement that says, hey, we support this. We'd like to support Blue Zones, at least the startup process in here. If we can do it on a long-term basis, great. If it doesn't work out with our staffing and our housing or our office space in the future, that's not a problem, but this is a fantastic initiative. Like I said, it's a public-private partnership with no money coming out of taxpayers, but think about the benefits of this in other communities where this has gone forward with Blue Zones. What if the county could stop the increase in healthcare costs or reduce them by 5 or 10%? And what about the benefits of all the businesses who are also supporting this? If they could in turn, if you could take a company like FlexFab and reduce their healthcare costs by 5 or 10% because of Blue Zones initiatives in this county over the next 5 or 10 years, I think the cost savings and the health benefits going forward, it's a perfect partnership with our health department. I mean, this is something that I don't see why anybody would vote no on something like this. This is a fantastic initiative for our community and for our effort, especially going forward in cost consideration. So I will be supporting this.
Any other discussion?
I'm very on board with the Blue Zones. I mean, I've been, started at the very beginning of those meetings, attending and going to some of the work sessions and stuff. It's just bad timing with our master facility plan and what we're going to implement. And like I said, that last line does say permanent space is needed. So that's, I gotta vote no on this.
I think the Blue Zones, we're trying to provide the best life that we can for people in Berry County. And part of that, a big part of that is their health. And if we have a chance to possibly reduce costs like it's happened in other areas, or just improve the health of the county, you know, when we provide the drain commissioner an excavator, it's just a tool so he can do his job better. And that's kind of how I feel with the Blue Zone. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to be able to come to our health department that we would never have before. And it's just another tool that's going to help us in Berry County for the citizens of Berry County. And it's at such an inexpensive cost for us at this time, which is some, you know, office space. I just, and it's on a 30-day basis, so you're not really taking much of a gamble on anything here, except the possibility of not providing as much as we can for the citizens of Berry County. And it's, to me, it's an economic type of thing in the long run, because people are going to move to places that feel that there's good health care and that people are concerned about the health of the citizens.
I would agree. And if you remember our county mission statement that we adopted some years ago, that we as a county believe in responsible county leadership with a small c, meaning that we're all in this together. And I think it's actually would be irresponsible of this board to be an obstacle to something as positive as Blue Zones, because it doesn't fit our timing perfectly. We're community leaders, and there is a request here to use a desk in one of our county offices. I don't see the logic in opposing this.
I like the idea of the 30-day opt-out because we are talking about other uses for that area. So without the 30-day opt-out, I wouldn't vote for it.
My concerns, again, from last week are the technology concerns in the health department providing the computer and the servers and everything. If they were to move in a short period of time, that stuff would all have to be replaced, and it would have, all of the information would have to be transferred, HIPAA rules, I think that's a gray area that should be ironed out. And I don't believe that the health department should be providing that service. I think that that should be something that their technology needs to be independent of the health department system so that they can be more mobile and not depend on IT support from another county. I think that they should be isolated to Berry County. And if they expand to Eaton County, great. However, I think that their network, technology network, should be a Berry County thing, not a
It's
health
not gonna
department
be-
thing.
We're not good at the technology and the IT for the,
Per their contract, it's provided by the health department. So I think that that's something that should be independent. And, you know, they can hook up to Wi-Fi wherever. But I just don't think that their IT service should be provided by Eaton County. That's my concern.
But you're not opposed to the,
I'm not crazy about the office space, given the fact that we haven't completed the project that we've started, and we've asked Howard Pinkster to lead the way on. We haven't decided what we're doing with any of our buildings yet, and until we do, I mean, it might take 2 years to get everything sorted, but at the same time, they all you know, that whole thing that it hangs over our heads with, well, we're gonna kick them out in 60 days or 6 months or 2 years or whatever. I don't think it provides them any stability with where they're going to be for the lifetime of their
but you must have,
thing.
you must have checked into this a little bit on the technology part, because if that can't be separate, if they leave in 30 days, they can't take only their information?
If the contract states that it's provided by Eaton County and that it's part of the health department system, the servers, the health department is providing the laptop, the health department is providing the IT support, it's in their contract.
But only up to the point that if they leave in 30 days.
They would be, so
gone.
if they're there for 3 years, the health department supplies that. However, so in 6 months, if we decide something changes down there and they have to find a new home, now all of their technology stuff goes to a new home, and they've got to replace all of their servers and all of their backup systems, because that was all in Eaton County with their IT stuff.
But we wouldn't have to do it, they would have to do it.
Sure, but
Zones,
so
right?
if you set them up for failure right away, then
Oh, that is-
you know,
But
I
that
think
isn't
that they
our
need to
re-
have a separate, they need to be able to supply their own technology stuff and their own backup thing instead of relying on the health department for it.
Well, this is the part, though, that I think that we're able to partner with, is the fact that we're able to at least supply that part until they get on their own, where they can do their own stuff too. And I just see it as like lending a neighbor a tool until they're done with it, you know, so.
And then it's for sale and you're in the neighbor's garage sale next month, lending something. I think that their IT stuff should be secure. I think they should be able to take it with them wherever they go and not have to
I do
depend.
too.
Madam Chair, I have looked into this, and I do know the health department's technology needs, and I really don't think there is going to be much heavy interaction between the Eaton County Health Department network and Blue Zones, other than file storage. We're talking about Excel files, we're talking about Word documents, which is largely cloud computing. The only transition they have to do is if they break off from the health department and change their email account, because the email server is going to go through the Berry Eaton District Health Department server. I'm right on that, Colette? that's up to Heather. But I would be more concerned if they had a large amount of data moving back and forth with, like, if they were taking, you know, a lot of medical information, something that had to go behind a firewall or had some sort of HIPAA protections. I would be concerned about that data being moved around the county in a very fast way. But at this point, and from what was presented, it really is nothing more taxing on the network than what we have as commissioners. I mean, email, Word, Excel.
Why couldn't they have our IT?
That was my question. I realize that the support for the health department is from Eaton County. I just don't know what our server and our staff is capable of in a building that's not supported by them
Blue Zone is for
currently.
Berry County, not Eaton
I
County.
agree.
So we should have our IT with our Blue Zone.
I agree.
It's large, I mean, it's gonna be Berry County's internet network, so, and Eaton County's email system, really. So they're gonna use Berry County's IT already, so.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
maybe Colette would be able to give us some additional, if that'd be all right with you?
Sure.
Thank you for letting me come up to clarify. The intent behind offering some IT support was really sort of what Dan alluded to. It's really, this is a very small enterprise that's trying to get started. And so by having them locate in our building as they build this Blue Zone initiative, it's just to help them get going and get moving. And really the intent behind offering our IT support with that was just to make that part of the process a little simpler for them. We have, office copiers and printers that Blue Zones could benefit from using as they get things started. And we have internet connections and, as you mentioned, backup systems that can help them just stabilize their business operations initially. But much as Ben had said, it's very simple cloud-based kind of work that if the point in time comes where they decide not to use our office system anymore, it's easily transferable to whatever system they move to. The advantage of working under our network per se is just that they gain the speed of being on our network versus on our guest Wi-Fi. Our guest Wi-Fi is not secure. It's a slower connection. It's often limited by, the volume that's being used in the building. And so instead of having them work just through that guest network, we're putting them onto our regular network. And then with that, it just simplifies it to be able to connect to our printers and our copiers to have them be on our network. Even in terms of email, they will, just because they're on our network, have a health department email address, but they don't have to use that. They can still establish their own Blue Zones email and have it forward into that, or vice versa, or they can just choose not to use our health department email at all. That will be up to them as they decide their business practices. But it's really just to give them a starting point and an opportunity to stabilize and grow. And at the point in time that they decide, or that the county decides not to provide the space anymore, I've discussed this significantly with our IT staff of, being able to segregate them into a certain file that only Blue Zones has access to, that they will be able to transfer and take with them. So I don't see that, though I appreciate the concerns about separating systems and all that, this is not that level of complexity, and it's pretty straightforward. And this would be the easiest way to move them into the building and have them have access to technology that will work very efficiently for them.
When they do get set up, can we have a conversation between Berry County's IT and Eaton County's IT and Blue Zones? Because as Heather was saying, we do need to, we as a county government should know what's happening on the local networks here and also be a resource.
Yeah, just to clarify, the health department is not on Berry County's network at all.
Our
So the health
Wi-Fi
department built,
networks.
nope, the Wi-Fi is the health department's Wi-Fi.
stand
So
corrected.
it is not, we're not at all connected to Berry County's IT infrastructure. And so, so I don't even know that that's possible to set them up onto Berry County, unless something has happened that I'm not aware of
Okay.
in the building. But the Wi-Fi that is provided in the Berry County building is provided by the health department and not under the Berry County structure.
Even the phone system
The
separate?
phone system is health department infrastructure connected to, our Eaton County offices. So all of that is very health department based. It is not connected to Berry County at all.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions for Colette or discussion? Hearing none, the question before the board is approval of the attached letter of agreement between the Berry Eaton District Health Department and Blue Zones LLC to provide office space. A roll call, please.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smelker,
No.
Connor,
No,
Geiger,
Yes.
Gibson,
No.
Wayne.
No. The item is not approved. It is denied.
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of Berry County Conservation Easement Board bylaws revision.
Support.
Moved by Smelker, support by Gibson for the approval of the Berry County Conservation Easement bylaw revisions. Discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Parker,
Yes.
Smelker,
No.
Connor,
no,
Geiger,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of Berry County farmland preservation selection criteria.
Support.
Support by Smelker, motion by Smelker, support by Gibson for the approval of the Berry County farmland preservation selection criteria. Discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Smelker,
No.
Connor,
no,
Geiger,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Wayne.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the Berry County open space preservation selection criteria.
Support.
Moved by Smelker, support by Gibson for the approval of the Berry County open space preservation selection criteria. Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Connor,
no,
Geiger,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smelker,
No.
Wayne.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for the approval to spend up to $2,260 for Chairperson Wing and Commissioner Geiger to attend the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs for Kentucky, Michigan, and Ohio Regional State Leadership Day in Washington, D.C.
second,
Moved by Smelker, second by Connor, for the approval to spend up to $2,260 for Chairperson Wing and Commissioner Geiger to attend the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, Kentucky, Michigan, and Ohio Regional State Leadership Day in Washington, D.C. Discussion.
Yeah. Is it $1,130 apiece? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Up to, right?
Up to.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Geiger,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smelker,
Yes.
Connor,
yes,
Wayne.
Yes, the item is approved.
Madam Chair, I move for approval to appoint an individual to serve on the Berry County Veterans Affairs Committee for the remainder of a 4-year term that begins on 1/1/17 and expires on 12/31/20. Am I supposed to put a name in there?
No, we'll have a discussion after it's approved, or seconded.
Second?
Moved by Smelker, second by Connor. Discussion. So last week, we got excited about getting done and forgot that we weren't done. So there were 4 individuals on our list that we interviewed for this position. Scott Brooks, Eva Chapp, Gene Greenfield, and Michael Spangler. So the chair would entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to appoint Michael Spangler to that position.
Second.
So the motion is by Connor, second by Parker, to appoint Michael Spangler to the Veterans Affairs Committee. Discussion.
He had a very good resume.
I agree.
I think they all had good qualifications.
I think they did, and I think they were very individually very unique candidates for the committee. I think that Mr. Spangler would bring a little more to the table, just by a hair. Any other discussion? So, I guess it'll be treated like an amendment, so it'll be to change the approval it'll read approval to appoint Michael Spangler to serve on the Berry County Veterans Affairs Committee for the remainder of a 4-year term that began on 1/1/2017 and expires on 12/31/20. On the amendment, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So the amendment is approved. Now on the main motion, is there any discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee, or the board, is approval to appoint Michael Spangler to serve on the Berry County Veterans Affairs Committee for the remainder of a 4-year term that began on January 1st, 2017 and expires on December 31st, 2020. A roll call, please.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smoker,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Geiger,
Yes.
Wayne.
Yes. The appointment is approved. Unfinished business.
He's got another appointment,
What?
Supposed to be 2, right?
There.
We are waiting to interview
Oh, an
Mr.
interview?
Alden.
oh, okay.
Wasn't able to be with us last week, so we will interview him next week.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Unfinished business, I think we just took care of it. New business. We added a letter of support to BCK SISMA. We'll get it right. So Commissioner Connor.
First, I would make a motion that we approve support of this letter for BCK SISMA. It would be sent to the Conservation District, and it would help them to get grants. So my motion is that we approve this letter and have Heather sign it and send it off to the Conservation District.
Wait, shouldn't we wait until our master facility plan is done before moving ahead and making a generalized statement?
This is a
Yes.
statement on behalf of the Board of Commissioners in approval of the work that they're doing. We just entertained a motion to provide additional funding during the budget. But this would show that any grant provider that the county government approves of the work that they're doing and supports additional work. It just would enable them to better apply for grants. So, is there a second for Commissioner Connor's motion?
Now, the bottom line of this, including whatever donation and monetary value, is that
I asked, we discuss it without a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Thank you.
I talked to Sarah, and I asked her specifically, we can approve the money during the budget process and restrict it to just Berry County and, you know, to just SISMA work. She said even if we don't approve the money, she said we can still do the approval of the letter because it will be supplied as support and could help them with the 2 grants that they're applying for. We already support the Conservation District, and they do use their office space. The SISMA uses their truck for the, so she said even if there's no money attached in the letter, we still could approve it and support them by just doing the letter.
And we can strike the second part of that sentence if we don't want to commit to anything in the letter.
Correct.
We can, as
We can support their
as the chair of the
activities.
Berry County Board of Commissioners, I will be actively involved in supporting BCK SISMA. I mean, that's pretty blanket.
And I do attend
statement.
their meetings.
The board has to authorize the chairperson to sign a letter on behalf of the board. So you need to amend your motion and authorize the chairperson.
She did say that.
I did say that in my motion.
Right. All right, if it has no money attached to it.
Any other discussion? Do we want to amend that letter? Before you authorize me to sign away the fund balance?
You want to just strike that last sentence in paragraph 3?
Yeah. Or 4. It's that,
3,
it's just that
Oh.
one sentence.
the last one? Okay.
Or, and it's
So you want me
changes.
to make an
wording.
amendment to my original motion?
Yes, please.
So the motion was to approve the letter of support and authorize Chair Wing to sign it, and to also amend it, striking the last paragraph, which would be 4. Not the last paragraph, but
Fourth one.
paragraph number 4.
Support for the amendment of the letter. So amending the letter dies.
I'll support it.
Thank you. On the amendment of the letter, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So, for the main motion would be to approve the letter of support to the BKC SISMA and authorize the chair to sign. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved. County Administrator's Report.
I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Chairperson's report. I am in the midst of all of my monthly meetings, and it seems like August is flying by rather quickly. We had Charlton Park last night, Assyria and Maple Grove both last week. There is a ribbon cutting for Community Action Agency this week on Thursday at 4 o'clock. It is their open house for their new site. And then the Economic Development will be down there to help celebrate their open house. Tonight is Baltimore Township, and tomorrow night is Johnstown Township.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
is there an RSVP to the open house?
Not for the open house. I know that
That's fine.
the Economic Development had sent out email invites, and they were looking for who was going to be there. So other than that, I have a few more after this week, and we'll be done. Oh, I want to mention it twice. Next Wednesday or next Tuesday, we do not have a meeting because of the MAC conference. We scheduled that meeting for Wednesday, August 21st at 9 a.m. here. So just try to remember to get that on your calendar, that we will be meeting Wednesday instead of Tuesday. Commissioner Connor.
Thank you. I attended the Orangeville Township meeting. Jim Dull was there, and there was the matter of a drain that no longer exists, so they're abandoning, the board approved to abandon the drain. There was discussion starting, if you've ever been to Orangeville, next to their township hall, they have a dam, and there's a little hole there, and it's been a swimming hole for years, and I think every kid in Orangeville has probably swam in that. So it is on private, dam is on private property, and the owner is looking to sell. So he would like the township to take over the dam and transfer ownership to the township where that dam sits on that property. They're looking into that. They wouldn't commit to it, but they committed to looking into it, what it would all entail. So that was started, and their fire department is fully staffed at 25 now. Orangeville has a great fire department, as to do with the other townships, but they're very, very active. So I attended the Yankee Springs Township meeting, a 55-minute meeting. Resident Willard Case gave a presentation regarding the high nitrates in parts of Yankee Springs. He had difficulty selling his home because of the nitrate levels there. So they didn't do anything with it. It was just a very good presentation. Jim Dull will be in I skipped a sentence. The Cuddy Drain. That was a big thing a couple years ago. They built sedimentation ponds, and there's still some filling in there where the Cuddy Drain empties into the lake, and Jim Dull is still trying to work forward to resolve that. They talked about trying to get that for the residents. And Supervisor Engler shared the DNR is investigating moving the Berry State Game Area shooting area from Yankee Springs Road to Berry State Game Area land east of Pete's Road, where there are no residences. Attended the SMART meeting last week in Allegan County. We had a presentation from Robert Sorrow and the health officer, and her name is Angelique Jones. They gave a presentation on how they made their health department more high performing. They even raised fees on their permits, which all of the contractors, all the people, all the people that were applying for permits there were in favor of it if they could get their permits processed faster. So, and they did a study, and all the study, they did also have to add some staff, but they're seeing a great turnaround and everybody's happy. So we also toured the jail that they built in 2014. That was took a old Hayworth factory and turned it into a jail with those 2-story pods that they put in place. It was very, very educational.
Cool. Commissioner Parker.
Yeah, I went to Thornapple Township meeting last night. Big discussion on fireworks, on how many days they should allow, whether they should even, we had some people that felt on their township that people should be able to set fireworks off anytime they want to, and but because it's rural area, so. But, and then the fire chief had other ideas too. So it was an interesting discussion that is not yet finished. The township also, the fire department was able to get some protective gear for training in Berry County active shooter training. And so they have some protective gear for that. That's about it. Went to the SMART meeting and with Vivian, and got to tour the jail. They took a huge warehouse, and I don't even think they used maybe a third of it. And they were able to put, with the supports, the big steel supports, they were able to just put in all the different cells in each of those areas, and it fit just perfect. So it really worked out good for them. They paid, I think, between 1.3 and 1.7 million, and they never did figure out what it was, but for the building, and it really is in a good location. They have their station up above, so they can keep an eye on all different areas, and it just was really, it looked like a pretty good system. And they got lots of room for extra things down the road with it too, so we should be looking for warehouses. That's about it. I got a village meeting tonight, and I think that's about it for this week.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Geiger.
I'm very, very disappointed that this board has thumbed its nose at the philanthropists and community leaders behind Blue Zones. This county won't forget when they asked for a cube, we gave them the curb. This is a sad day. That's all I have.
Commissioner Jackson.
No report. I echo Ben's sentiment. I think 4 commissioners gave this board a black eye today, spit in the face of people who are willing to fund a fantastic initiative for this community. I think it's very disappointing that the short-sightedness of some members of this board, that they couldn't pull their heads out and look at it and decided to step in it. Just very disappointing that we had a great opportunity to do something in Berry County, first in Michigan, and yet we can't get any clear thinking, any smart thinking to work together on this board. Just, I don't know what else to say. Scourged.
Commissioner Smoker.
I had Carlton and Village of Freeport last night, just starting mine. So that's about it to report.
And Commissioner Gibson.
Yes, I think we could still have the Blue Zone with their own IT. I'm starting my cycle of meetings tonight. I'll be at Hastings Township. That's all I have.
Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
All right, so by not getting here earlier for the report time, we're discussing some issues up in the village of Woodlands. So I do have a new scam that everybody should be aware of, and it has to do with the Berry County Sheriff's Office. We're not scamming people, but somebody's trying to use us to scam people. And what happened was it's an 88 number that was come across their phone, and a guy said his name was Charles, and he worked for Berry County Sheriff's Office. And Charles told the lady here that he was trying to serve papers, and she had a fine of $2,000 that needed to be paid or she would be arrested. If someone's to be arrested from the sheriff's office, I'd know about it. And that's, especially at something like this, it's a fraud. So she did hang up on him, and then she reported it to the sheriff's office. So no, we don't operate that way. If you owe money, it's got to go through the courts and so on and so forth. So if anybody says that you owe money and the sheriff is going to go out and arrest you, they're full of it. Okay. Also, we logged 766 complaints in July. 53 individuals were arrested, 20 felony and 36 misdemeanor charges. 35 citations were issued and 10 alcohol-related arrests. 68 accidents were handled, 3 fatalities, 36 accidents involved deer. That's going to increase because we're getting closer to the fall season and the rut and all that. K-9 unit activated on 5 occasions, and the dog did recover some drugs, and we did apprehend some individuals for criminal cases. We also performed 56 home checks for Swift and Sure sobriety drug courts, and 422 criminal histories were run. There were 113 sex offender transactions completed, 433 preliminary breath tests were administered per court order. In 2019, 766 incidents handled, 2014, 625. Accidents, 2019 are 80, 2014, 70. Car deer, 2019, 36, 2014, 25. Arrest, 2019, 53, 20 felony and 36 misdemeanor. 2014, there was 64, 21 felony and 47 misdemeanor. Alcohol-related arrests, 10, and then there's 11. Any questions on here? We have our full report ready to go whenever you guys are ready to hear it. So if you want it next meeting or the following regular BOC meeting, let me know.
Is there any other limited public comment?
I'm Larry Neal, and I'm in the Farm Land Preservation Board. I want to thank you for all your consideration for the things that we've gone through this spring. We right now have about 16, 17 applications that they're interested in. I shouldn't say application. We've sent out packets to 16 people. And so we're excited about that. And then Commissioner Geiger and Jackson, I agree with you. If there's some problem about IT and so on, for heaven's sake, solve that. There isn't a statistic about health about Berry County where we come up to even average. We're below average on so many areas. So I encourage you to solve that problem. Thank you.
Any other limited public comment?
Howdy, Rick Moore with Berry County Parks and Recreation. I just wish to remind everyone here that one of our founding fathers, whose name escapes me, says that compromise is the cornerstone of democracy. And in our present political system, people seem to forget about that. They want to do it their way or kick everybody else out of the country. And the National Geographic, of which I've been a member of the society since '75 or so, has run several articles on blue zones. And the important thing about blue zones is a Mediterranean diet without a lot of red meat, clean air, clean water, and go for a long walk. Most of these people in these countries walk a lot, up and down hills, and walk every place. And that's something we can all learn from, and feel free to walk on the Paul Henry Trail and look for Japanese knotweed. But it's important to get out there and do something productive. And I went for 25 years without health insurance because it was too expensive, and then I relied on my bicycle, good posture, clean water, and clean air to keep me alive, and it seemed to have worked. So it's good health insurance is very important. Good health is even more important. So let's all strive to be healthy, learn how to compromise in a democracy and make things work and make it better for everyone. Because to eliminate all of this wonderful, ambitious result is just because of an IT issue. Seems like we're always having IT issues around here and stuff. Let's work together to make this a better place for Berry and Eaton County. Thank you very much.
Any further public comment? Hearing none, is there any other business to come before the board today? There being no further business and without objection, the board will now adjourn.